Welcome to the Sports Bros Podcast, featuring the almighty B-Live, the money man Scotty D, and your host, the head of creative Eddie Cool. The Sports Bros Podcast, by the fan, for the fan, talking sports just the way you like it. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the Sports Bros. We talking sports. It's Tuesday, and you know what that means. It's time for another episode of your favorite sports podcast, none other than the Sports Bros Podcast. And as you can see on the screen right here, it's 1, 2, 3, and then there was 4. That's right. We have a fourth one with us this week. All right. We have Hunter Simboli. He's joining us this week, and he is our guy when it comes to baseball. So guess what? It's going to be a baseball heavy show. But enough of my incoherent rambling. I got 2 of the best co-hosts in the world. Introducing first, the almighty B-Live.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today? We have a special baseball-themed episode. And before this episode started, I realized, holy crap, I don't have any baseball gear. My 3 fellas here representing their teams. Eddie Cool and switched over, so he somehow became a Cleveland Guardian. Scotty D is just disappointing his hometown, so he switched over, and he's now a Yankees fan after being a Pirate fan a week ago. And then, of course, Hunter Simboli representing true and true all day, every day, a Cleveland Indians, now Guardians fan, because they done switched up because the world that we live in is fickle. I said what I said. But you know what, Hunter? True and true, but somehow you went from Cleveland to Alabama, then somewhere around the line for all up, my bad. All roads lead to that.
Come on, man.
I was wondering where the hell you was going. I got lost my damn self, but go ahead.
Go ahead and introduce the other guy, and he finally paid his child support, so his son is here with us today, too.
Wow.
See, I say my jokes for on the air, since Scott had all the jokes off the air. There we go. His long-lost son joins us for this episode. Here we go. All right.
Wow. And speaking of the other guy, he is the pride of Washington, Pennsylvania. He is the one, the only, the money man, Scotty D.
Hey, now you're an all-star. Get your game on. Go play, because it's 1, 2, 3 strikes. You're out at the old ball game. Woo! Man, how about that home run derby last night? Was that exciting to watch? Man, that was really exciting. It went just how I thought it was going to go. Just how I predicted off the air.
Do we really have to pretend like we've watched it already just because we care later? Then, God,
that was something else.
We record on Mondays, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all should know this by now. But
oh man, when Jose Ramirez hit that ball very far, man, I was crazy.
He got all of that one. Now he got all of that one. That was crazy.
Oh yeah, there was another
one too.
And how
about the ovation for Albert Pujols? That was incredible. It gave me goosebumps.
Oh, y'all see who I'm rooting for? They got their jerseys on, so I went full background. Walk off, chop on. It should be a hashtag. Make it happen. Yes, sir.
Yep. All right. And our fourth guy, of course, he is Jeff Hassan. He is Tim Kirchin. Except his voice is not squeaky. He is, ladies and gentlemen, once again, back for the 55,000th time, Hunter Simboli. What's going on with you, Hunter?
What is going on? I am very happy that it is All-Star Weekend, even though that it starts on a Monday. So it's kind of a flaw in the system that the All-Star Game's also on a Tuesday, but we're not going to talk about that. We're going to have fun, talk a lot about baseball, so I'm going to be in heaven here for a good portion of today, so I am ready to go. Hope you guys are doing well.
Yep, we are doing
welcome.
fine.
Glad to have you, Hunter. Glad you could be an honorary bro this week on this special baseball edition.
Oh, I'm very happy to be here. Thank y'all for having me.
Yep, because I was like, you know what? All-Star Weekend, All-Stars coming up. I'm like you, Hunter. It should be on the weekend, not like in the middle of the week, because I'm over here saying All-Star Weekend because all the other All-Star games during the weekend. Baseball, why you got to be the oddball for, huh? Why do you have to be the oddball? But in the words of the almighty B-Live, I digress. All right, y'all, let's hop into it. The top of the order. All right, let's get this thing started. Here it is, the top of the order. There's been a lot going on in the first 88 plus games of this season, fellas. We've seen some potential MVP candidates, and we've seen some teams going from sugar to you know what. So the biggest first half surprise, be it team or player. Hunter, we're going to start with you. Who you got?
So I got two here. So I'm going to give you a player, and then I'm going to do a team, right?
Okay.
So I don't mean to go on the Cleveland Guardians route so early in the show, but I have to because I truly believe that he's the most surprising player in the MLB. Andrés Giménez. We're going to talk about him for a real quick moment because last year he was barely hitting his weight. You know, he was not hitting for power whatsoever. His fielding ability was there, but there wasn't really much else to him. Well, this year, he's at least amongst second basemen. He is first in average, third in RBIs, second in OPS, and he's also one of the clutchest batters in the MLB in general, which is fourth in the MLB in OPS, but first in the AL with a 384 batting average with runners in scoring position. So with that said, Andrés Giménez, I am definitely most surprised with him because I didn't even think he was going to be on the club after May going into this year. Now for team, I understand that the American League East is the hardest division in the MLB, and I don't think anyone can really argue with that. If you have a different opinion, fine. But the Baltimore Orioles, they're finding some way to keep their head afloat, going 500 again in the most difficult team or difficult division in the MLB. I think they are performing way above grade right now, at least in my opinion. But their starting pitching has definitely turned the corner, especially it started around mid-June, I would say. And it's definitely just carried over into July.
All right.
Yeah, I labeled them as a bottom feeder back when we did our season preview. They're 500 or a game above 500. They're definitely much improved. Yeah, for sure.
They're at 500. The entire AL East is 500 or better. Yep. That speaks volumes for your division. And then the fact that all the teams are above 500 or above. And let me go ahead and say it, that the Yankees are still 13 games ahead in that division is astounding. So I got to give respect where respect is due for the Yankees doing what it's doing. And they're leading all of Major League by far. Now we all are sitting back and waiting because I love to hate on the Yankees because they're the Yankees. They bought their team, et cetera, et cetera. All the narratives that you want to say about the Yankees. You know, the thing that surprises me the most, though, I thought it could have happened. And I wish I had these stats offhand. Maybe Hunter can help me out with this. There was a moment of time in this first half of the season that the Los Angeles Angels had a good team. They had arguably the best hitter in the game with Mike Trout. And the best, he is the only two-way player in the game. Well, Eddie Cool, can you hit it for me one time for the one time?
Sure. Ohtani Shohei. That's his name.
Man, Shohei Ohtani is even better than he was last year. And then the Angels hit a wall like I've never seen before in my life. And they're the same old Los Angeles Angels that they are. I honestly, they've got to let it go. They've got to rebuild, trade, do something. I just don't understand it. Like, Mike Trout is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He deserves better. Shohei Ohtani deserves better. Like, just get trade stock. Do something. Obliterate the team at this point in time because they're just not doing it. And it's just, man, I was hoping just something. But, man, what I'm not surprised about, though, you see it in the background. My Braves start off slow. Now they're doing their thing. 2.5 games back. They make the wild card or they win the division. We're going to be back. We're going to be back to defend. They are the reigning, defending, undisputed World Series champions. and we're not going anywhere. Walk off, chop on. You see it. Let's get it. Let's go.
All right. So to piggyback on your team that you're kind of disappointed with, B-Live, I'm saying the same thing about the Angels. But I remember Hunter did tell us if they have good pitching, they'll be all right. And from the looks of it, at 39 and 53, they ain't all right.
No, they don't have good pitching. That's kind of what I said. They have one viable starter, and that's arguably their best player in Shohei Ohtani. That's it. They don't. I don't even know what happened to their rotation. It just fell off the face of the earth. It looked good like midway through May.
Yeah, they were in first place in May.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then they just free fell after that. And then them pesky Houston Astros, they're at the top of the AL West division. And then we have the hottest team in baseball, the Seattle Mariners. Now, Hunter, I remember they made some moves in the offseason and acquired some key pieces. And from the looks of it, everything is paying off in Seattle. They're jumping up and down. They're happy. The weather's bad, but the team's good in Seattle. They won, what, was it 12 straight?
14.
I'm
14.
sorry, yeah.
I think 14.
Yeah, 14 straight. Google, update your stuff. Yeah, they won 14 straight, and it's like the Angels and the Mariners have literally switched roles. They have literally switched roles, and the Mariners might make a strong case. So, Hunter, what do you think is attributes them to this 14-game winning streak?
I really think it's just just depending on a different guy every day almost, because there's not one guy that's really standing out. I mean, you have Julio Rodriguez, who is a star in the making, at least what it seems like, and head candidate for Rookie of the Year. And then you have people like Jesse Winker, Eugenio Suarez, who are just coming in, playing good ball. And you have someone like Ty France, who is working off of their good campaign last year into this year.
He should be the starter in the All-Star game, I believe, at first base.
Oh, he should at least be. He got in the All-Star game yesterday, right? It was like he got.
Yeah, he's on the team. But I mean, I think he could have been legitimately a star.
He wasn't even a reserve to begin with either. Like it took them a minute to get him in.
I'll give you credit, Hunter. You predicted that they were going to be a good team this year. You did say that to look out for them back in our preseason episode. That was a team you said to be on the lookout for, and you also predicted the Guardians had a chance to be second or third in that division and get a wild card. A couple good aces you had there. You threw out for us there on a couple good nuggets.
Yep. I'm okay with that. I also did strike out on the Astros. I thought they were washed, but clearly they are not. So
no, they just won't stop winning.
Justin Verlander is like an ageless magician. I don't even know what to think of him.
Let me put it this way, Hunter. I know that we are fans. I think you're more of an analyst because you focus on one sport. We are just fans of all across the. As it's okay to feel something, speak something from the heart. Nobody wants the Astros to be good. I think that's at the end of it. Nobody wants them to be good. So we just like, man, they're washed. It ain't gonna happen. They ain't gonna keep winning the cheating. But the Astros do find a way to keep winning. But it also doesn't hurt the fact that you also have got the Texas Rangers, the Los Angeles Angels, and the Oakland A's in the same division. Ooh. They're going to rock. They're going to be better than those teams in their division. So that there.
But
that's
they're
almost
evolving,
like
though. I mean, you look at the World Series team. Correa's gone. Springer's gone. Garrett Cole is gone. Yordan Alvarez is a legit MVP candidate right now. So they're evolving. I mean, except for Verlander, he's still there. In his old age, coming back from a lost season, and he's pitching well. I mean, and even Altuve's batting average is down a little bit. I mean, he's batting 275. It'd be would raise his jersey in Pittsburgh if somebody batted 275. Would retire the jersey. But
I don't think anyone's ever
down for him.
I don't think anyone's ever been comeback player of the year and Cy Young Award winner in the same season, because Justin Verlander definitely has those credentials, at least right now.
Yeah, and he's already been MVP and Cy Young in the same season, if I'm not mistaken, right? Didn't he win the MVP a few years back when he was still in Detroit? I feel like he did.
If he did, it was in the early 2010s.
Yeah,
because I'm trying to remember. I remember a couple seasons he was like that, where he was just. I think Justin Verlander has been one of the most consistently good pitchers the past 10 years. The only other person that I'd even put in his category right now is probably Clayton Kershaw and maybe Max Scherzer. And
right, Scherzer, who was his teammate. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Justin Verlander, 2011 Cy Young and MVP.
Yeah.
Okay. He does crazy stuff. So maybe that could be something to look at down the line, Hunter. Let me give you my surprise. Biggest surprise to me was that the Blue Jays have fired their manager already. Charlie Montoyo was fired, and it's not that the Blue Jays are terrible. They're right in the mix. You know, the Yankees are so far ahead in that division, it kind of overshadows. But it just shows you that the Blue Jays, they want to go all in. They're like, we're not going to let the season get away from us right now. We still have a chance. Let's make a change and try to get the troops fired up and go after here. And another thing that surprises me. Well, I'm actually surprised that the Yankees are doing this well. I at the beginning of the season, I picked Toronto to win, obviously, the division and the World Series. And I said I didn't trust the Yankees pitching. So I'm surprised they're doing that well. I'm not surprised that they're good. I'm surprised they're doing that well. But a big surprise to me is Matt Carpenter, who is basically off the scrap heap. Matt Carpenter couldn't hit 200 his last two seasons. Right now he's batting 354 with the Yankees. And I know come September, the guy's not going to be batting 354, but he's been a huge lift for this team. And Matt Carpenter's for all intents and purposes dead in the water. The Yankees try to use him as a reclamation project, and he is on fire. He is sizzling hot. And that's been, a big part of the Yankees, because most of the Yankees guys aren't hitting better than 280. They're getting it done on the home run for the most part, and some okay pitching. But we saw in the last week and a half to 2 weeks, the Yankees have not been getting as good pitching. Severino's hurt, which is not a surprise. The Aroldis Chapman looks terrible out there right now. He looks bad. They have a guy named Clay Holmes who's been their closer. Clay Holmes pitched for the Pirates the last couple of years, and I couldn't wait till he got off the team. I hated this guy. He was bouncing balls around the yard and throwing it over the catcher's head, and he showed up and did that the other night. So the Yankees still have some problems. As good as they've been in the first half, they'll probably still win the division, but I'm not going to, completely pencil them in for the World Series just yet, because you get a hot pitcher against them in the postseason, and if you're relying simply on a home run, sometimes it doesn't come. So I still worry about the Yankees when it comes to that aspect. But I am surprised at how well they're doing and how well Matt Carpenter's doing.
Yeah, I got a question. Where the hell is Giancarlo Stanton? Hello?
Is he hurt again?
No, he's actually not hurt. He's been doing okay the past couple of weeks, but I feel like his season has definitely overshadowed by this season that Judge is having right now. He's already at almost, I think he's over 31 home runs, 32 home runs, and we're just now hitting the All-Star break. If he keeps that pace, he's hitting 55 if he keeps the pace, or if he, God forbid, doesn't or gets hurt, because it's in his file, I guess is the one you want to word it. He's a guy that gets hurt a lot, kind of like a Giancarlo Stanton. But no, Stanton's just getting really overshadowed right now. And let's not talk about Joey Gallo, because that dude's swinging a toothpick.
They got to DFA him. Hunter. They got to do something. He is pitiful. I went to a game where he's in Pittsburgh, and he looked lost at the plate. Now he connected and hit a home run, but it's basically like he's coming out of his shoes. It's all or nothing. Well, if you're waiting 2 weeks for a home run and he's batting 160, he's not doing you a whole lot of good in the meantime. So you got Aaron Judge playing center field, for crying out loud. They got to get another outfielder. So, and that's another thing too. We haven't not yet hit the trade deadline. So there's going to be some changes made that we haven't seen coming yet. But Gallo got to go, man. He really does.
I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I want to apologize for Eddie Cool's outburst when it came to Giancarlo Stanton, and because all of y'all are right, like Juan Carlos Stanton is being overshadowed by Aaron Judge because Juan Carlos Stanton is 5th in home runs in all of Major League Baseball.
Okay.
He's 5th. Aaron Judge has 33, but Juan Carlos Stanton has 24, and he's 5th in all of Major League Baseball. So he's doing his job, but he just happened to be on the same team as Aaron Judge.
Well, he strikes out a lot though, and he has a low. He's only batting 237. He strikes out a lot, but he's got 60 RBIs. I mean,
yeah. Well, everybody on the Yankees team strikes out though. Literally everybody. That is a problem. That is true. That is true.
All right, the same thing as my Braves. Those two. There's not one single player on the Braves that has over 300 batting average. But we hit the home run ball. We're second in the league behind the Yankees with the home run ball. And we also, believe it or not, we have the most strikeouts in all of Major League, like the pitcher strikeouts. So, wow. Hey, chop on.
That's it.
Let's get it.
All right, so here we go. The first half MVP, fellas. Who do you think would is your MVP of the first half of this year, Major League Baseball season? Hunter, you go first again.
So I'm not going to lie. About 10 minutes ago, before we even started, I was going to say Judge, but the more that I thought about it, if you want my definition of what, in a sense, an MVP is, it's basically if you take this person away from that team, where do they, like, how good or bad are they? And I thought of two teams with this. So I'm going to have to give it to two players here. I thought of two teams. I'm really not trying to bring up the Cleveland Guardians again, but I have to for the sake of this conversation. Cleveland Guardians and St. Louis Cardinals. If you take Paul Goldschmidt away from the St. Louis Cardinals and you take Jose Ramirez away from the Cleveland Guardians, both of those teams are, for one, below 500, two, probably not even in the picture, and the wild card are division contention. So I'm going with Paul Goldschmidt for the NL, Jose Ramirez for the AL. I have to, because if you like I said, if you take one of those guys away from either of those teams, you can take Aaron Judge away from that Yankee team, but they're so far ahead that they're still going to be above 500. At least I'd like to think. If you take Ronald Acuna away from the Braves, for example, he hasn't had an MVP type season because he was hurt. But if you take him out, they won the World Series without him. Not saying that he is not an impactful player. He definitely is. But some teams can manage without one or two of their star players. But I can tell you Cleveland and St. Louis would not be above water whatsoever without Arenado and Ramirez. There's no shot.
I got Goldschmidt with you. I agree with him. He's batting 330 with 20 home runs. That's a season's worth of numbers right there. And I actually consider Freddie Freeman too, because the Dodgers they're as a team loaded with sticks. They're not hitting that well. They're a little bit better as late, but they got four pitchers that have ERAs under 3, so they're getting it done with pitching. But as far as the bat goes, Freddie Freeman's he's only got 13 home runs, but he's batting 320, and only Trey Turner's the only guy on the team that's batting over 300. Betts has 20 home runs, but I think Freddie Freeman gave that team a little bit of a lift, a little bit of a spark. But I think I would have to go lean Goldschmidt for the reasons that you said, Hunter, that you take him off the team and that they're probably going to struggle. But I thought about Jordan Alvarez with the Astros, but I think Judge's season has just been too good to ignore right now. Yeah, they're way ahead, but part of that's because the guy's got 70 RBIs in the middle of July and 33 home runs. So I go Judge and Goldschmidt as my two.
I won't let it go because he's just a two-way player. It sucks that he's on the team that he's on. I know that let it go. Why is you breathing so hard? Why is all this extra? But I got Shohei Ohtani. Like he hasn't shown me any reason why he's not the best player in the league. Like he does it on both sides. I'm sorry. I know it's a niche thing, blah, blah, blah. But I'm gonna go outside. I'm gonna go outside the box here. I'm gonna take my fandom out of it. In the NL side, I got to go with Pete Alonso for the Mets. He is when they're runners in position, he will find a way to get them home. He leads the league in RBIs, and God, every time when I saw him on up the bat when he was faced around, I'm like, oh boy, here we go. And it's just he's been doing it all year for them, and there's a reason why the Mets are where they're at. I think Pete Alonso is a huge part of that. So he gets my NL MVP nod for the time being. I'm gonna throw in Rookie of the Year mention for my boy Michael Harris, center field for the Braves. Gotta give my Braves some love. My man is the ultimate center fielder. I think he gets Rookie of the Year and Gold Glove this year. I'm putting him up there for that. So
not a bad pick.
Yep.
Not a bad pick at all.
Yep. So Hunter, I'm with you, man. Not just because I live in the area, but even before Aaron Judge got hot, I'm gonna have to say, Jose Ramirez, man, he was on fire, lighting it up. I was gonna say Stevie Kwan, but he kind of cooled off just a little bit. He had a hot start, but he cooled off a little bit. And so as he cooled off, Ramirez came through and just took it to another stratosphere, because if I'm not mistaken, they're in second place in the AL Central. And like you said, if you take him away from that team, then you'll see something different.
Very.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to roll Be Live, Shohei Ohtani, got to put him up there, even though he's playing on a bad team. They hit the wall because, as Hunter said, they got to have some good pitching over in LA with the Angels, and they don't, and we can evidently see it right now. All right, so everybody got all their picks in?
I believe so. Yeah.
All right, so close this segment out, fellas. Here we go. Our preseason World Series picks. We still feeling good about them?
I'd feel good about them if I remembered them. We ain't got no secretary. We ain't got no. I mean, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. We've got 100. This is 164, correct?
Yeah, 164.
So we have this all together. I'm just going to throw some quick math at you. Give or take, our average episode is 100 minutes long, an hour and a half, hour 40 minutes. We have 16,000 minutes of recorded content.
Wow.
What episode was it that we did preseason? Let's talk about that. You know what? Let's just let it all hang out at this point in time. Yes, I don't remember. You see this gray hair on my chin? I think I might have said the Braves.
You did.
You did.
You
I said the Braves. I was being full fandom. Okay, cool.
Yes.
But who did I say in the AL? I just don't feel myself saying the Yankees. And I really just wouldn't say the Astros. So who would I have picked?
You might have gone to the Blue Jays. That's who we went with.
Hunter and
I both picked the Blue Jays.
You know what?
And the Dodgers.
I picked the Tampa Bay Rays. I know. I don't.
He did. I do remember that. Yeah, because when he said that, I was like, "That's really not a bad pick." But why? I remember that because I remember us having like a 30-second conversation about that.
They're the top wild card team right now, so they're right in it. I mean,
yeah.
So both my picks are the top wild card team. So you know what? There it is. So yeah, I just know whatever Scotty D says, I tend to not agree with anything he ever says. So you know what? I know I didn't say the Toronto Blue Jays. I would have never said the Yankees, and none of us would ever say the Astros. I said what I said. Quit banging on trash cans. All right. Quit banging on yourself. Oh, I said what I said. All right.
I'm going to tell you right now.
They're trash organization. The city of Houston is just trash organizations.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
But I like them. I like them to win. I think right now they have as good a team as any in the American League. They've been a thorn in the Yankees' side in the postseason, and that's a hump the Yankees are going to have to get over if we're expecting the Yankees to play in the World Series this year. That's going to be a hurdle. I'm not giving up on the Blue Jays either. I mean, like I said, we still have some trade time coming up. They are actually in the wild card hunt. They're right there, maybe a game out or so. I don't know specifically, but there's still a lot of there's 6 All-Stars from Toronto Blue Jays playing in the Tuesday night All-Star game. It's not like they're terrible. I just don't feel like they've quite hit their stride yet. And we saw the Braves do that a year ago. So a team like the Blue Jays could do something like that. I am sticking with the Dodgers from what I said earlier, and that is because of pitching. They have 4 pitchers right now. They got Tony Gonsolin's 11-0, Tyler Anderson's 10-1, and Walker Buehler hasn't even been pitching. He hasn't even been out on the field for over a month. They're not going to get him back, I think, for another month or so. So that's just like picking a player up at the trade deadline. You're adding a guy who was, I think, won the Cy Young last year, if I'm not mistaken. So I think maybe the Dodgers also do something at the deadline, maybe to help their bullpen, because Kimbrel's been a little iffy. He does have 15 saves, but his ERA is up over 4. They're going to have to work on that, I think. But I'm sticking with Dodgers, and I hate to say, how can I wear a Yankee jersey and not say the Yankees have the best record in baseball? But I'm afraid of the Astros. So having said all that, I'm sticking with the Blue Jays. Over to you, Hunter.
That if I want to make sure if the season it's still just 2 wild card teams, right?
No, it's 3.
It's 3 this year.
It's 3 now. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Which then makes it a lot more interesting, actually.
Ooh.
Like it actually makes it like really interesting.
So that puts the Blue Jays in. The Blue Jays would be in if the season ended today.
Mm-hmm.
The Blue Jays are in. The Rays are in, and the Mariners are in. The Guardians are sitting 2.5 games back. Only 1 game in the loss column, but 4 games in the win column.
Mm-hmm.
So 2.5 games back of that last wild card situational. But there is a lot of baseball to go, Hunter. I do apologize. Yeah. Your ball's in your court.
No, you're good. I'm a little iffy on my like if I want to keep them or not, because LA, I'm gonna be honest, this season, like you have the Yankees and then you have the Dodgers, right? Those are the Yankees, Dodgers, and Astros, we'll say. Those are kind of, in my opinion, the big 3 in the MLB right now, at least based on performance and all things considered. If I'm forgetting a team, whoops, I'm sorry. But other than that, like this season looks wide open. Like there are a couple teams that are doing very bad that we know probably aren't going to make a push, obviously, like the Oakland Athletics or a team like the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah.
You know, we know that they're not going to be in contention, but there's a good, I would say 70% of the league that still has a decent shot, and there is at least one good quality about each of those teams, right? And you know me, I love bullpen. If you have a good bullpen, I believe that you can do anything.
Sure.
Right.
Yep.
And if Toronto trades for another bullpen piece, maybe 2, I'm comfortable with keeping Toronto for the American League. And then, or for the American League, and then for the Dodgers, I mean, it's so hard for me to say to trade for somebody because the Dodgers are already really stacked. But why not get another bullpen piece? Maybe get a 6th starter to put in the bullpen just in case something happens to a Walker Buehler or Julio Urias, you know, or Clayton Kershaw. God forbid he gets hurt because he's on a roll. You know, it's
the regular season. Clayton Kershaw is allowed to do that. It's when we get to October that he turns into a bum. That's what I said.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
When we say it, be loud. What did we say?
He's a bum.
Bum. Look at him. He's a bum. He'll never win. Then he turns around and wins. It's like still a bum. But
he's still a bum.
Yeah. He's a damn bum.
Yeah. I'm okay. I'll stick with both of my teams for right now. I'm okay with it. I might just make the turn to Seattle though, because I just like watching teams that played the game differently, and Seattle definitely plays the game differently.
And that city, they
deserve
something.
it. They deserve it.
Something. And just throw a little quick update. If the season ended today in the National League, the San Francisco Giants would be the odd man looking out. The Philadelphia Phillies would have the last wild card spot. So the Phillies have been playing pretty good baseball as well. It's going to be a nice little situation between the Mets, Braves, and Phillies. Padres and Giants. The Mets, God.
I forgot about the Mets. They're the 4th team in that big 4 now. That's the 4th team. They're really good. They're really good.
And they're doing all right.
And what if one of those teams happens to land Juan Soto? Well, I guess we're at the point now where 15 years, $440 million isn't that good anymore. I mean, sheesh.
Can somebody please explain that to me?
I'll be glad to explain. I'll be glad to explain it to you. All you're doing is spreading his contract out that long. not even making $30 million a year. And when it comes to baseball contracts, that's not that good. He wants
but
it
gets backloaded though. It gets backloaded, so he'll continue to make money.
But he wants a 10-year, 350. That's what he wants. He wants an average annual value of 30 to 35, not 28 million like the 29 million like the 15-year, 445. Yeah, I understand backloaded, but once contracts get that long and they're also backloaded, they're also very hard to get. He's going to be like, how do you move that contract? Unless you're an A-Rod, you don't move that contract. Teams aren't going to pick up that contract if he declines in value. Of course, he wants the money now. He wants something of that nature. I don't know. But Hunter, you're the expert. I don't know nothing.
What I will say is, listen, that's a lot of money, but I think it's just because he simply doesn't want to play in Washington. I think with the player that he is, I think that amount of money is 100% fair. And funny how we're talking about fair when it's $450 million just thrown up in the air like we're just pennies. If one of those four teams gets Juan Soto, God forbid the Yankees get Soto. If they get Soto, I am going to probably cry. But I will say that I just don't think Soto wants to play in Washington. I think when they won the World Series, their team kind of got torn apart. Oh, yeah. And the team itself that won the World Series wasn't very good to begin with. I'm just being honest. But they won the World Series. So with that said, Juan Soto, he's 20 years old. He's 21 years old, not anymore. He's trying to move on. He's trying to play for a contender for a good 10, 15 years. Wherever he goes, no idea. I have no idea if he even does go anywhere this season. That's another thing.
I got a question, just real quick question. Could it be in reference to other sports? You've seen contracts skyrocket in basketball, football. We can't talk about hockey. They're trying, but basketball and football, you've seen contracts skyrocket over the past 2-3 years. So it's almost like if you 15 years, 445 million right now, you're looking at a contract that's not even going to be not going to be, if baseball grows at all, maybe, I don't know, that contract's not going to be good in 5 years. Because if the value of the game goes up, TV contracts, et cetera, 28 million average annual value is change as to where you probably could be making 35, 40 million. I see you on that. But yeah, I don't know. That's stuff I just don't know. So,
yep. And real quick, my pick for the World Series, Braves, Astros. And speaking of Braves, let's talk about after we come back, let's talk about a former Brave, his agent, and a contract situation that was never discussed. We're coming right back here on the Sports Bros Podcast. All right, back at you again right here on the Sports Bros Podcast. We hope you really enjoyed that last segment because we enjoyed recording and talking about it as well too. So something that we didn't talk about while we're on break, the news about Freddie Freeman, the mysterious Braves contract offer, which leading him to fire his agent. Be Live, I know you knee deep in it. Can you kind of give us a briefing of the developments of this story here, then we'll give our thoughts on it?
Well, the inner workings of this, I have no idea because I did not get the chance to interview Freddie Freeman like I had set up to do on my itinerary. He was just not available at the time, and his former agent, Casey Close, he really ain't talking to too many people, and I didn't want him accusing me of a false narrative like he's accusing everybody else after he got fired. The bottom line is this. You see it in his body language. Nothing about this story makes any sense. But Atlanta loves Freddie Freeman. Who in their right mind would not think that? Then all of a sudden we're shopping for another first baseman to replace him before it's even all said and done. Something had to have happened. Somewhere's talking between And usually it's not the player, it's usually their agent that's doing a lot of the talk. And as the story develops and more information, I'm using quotes, comes out that there might have been an offer out there that Freddie Freeman didn't hear about. And he was like, well, the agent could have been out there just trying to get more money. And maybe Freddie Freeman wasn't all about that. But then at the end of the day, he was like, bro, you didn't tell me about this. Why would you withhold? Like, that's at the end of the day, the writing, I feel like, is on the wall. There was a trust issue between Freddie Freeman and his agent, which led to Freddie Freeman saying, bro, you got to kick rocks. It's almost safe to assume, but it's really not safe to assume anything. But there's clearly, there was a trust issue between Freddie Freeman and his agent. The body language was there. When he was in Atlanta, he was sitting apart from the Dodgers players. There was a disconnect there. Like somebody told him something that really spilled the beans, and he was clearly distraught about it. He was definitely emotional when he got his World Series ring. Yeah, Casey Close, you need to do better, and you might be hard pressed to get a job at all after this whole situation, because now you're just trying to throw teams and you're trying to sue commentators because sue me. I said it. Casey Close, you didn't let that man know his last offer. Please sue me. I said what I said, and I'm going to stand on it. Chop on. Freddie Freeman, we love you. Business is business, and he is not good for business. What y'all think?
Well, I'm thinking that if you know that this man doesn't want to leave a city that loves him, you would try to do the best you can to keep him there, because, you think of Atlanta, you think of Freddie Freeman. And this is like not even a year or full-fledged calendar year after you win the World Series, he's already out. Now I understand players come and go. Players come and go, things happens. It's sports, it's a business, but he has established roots in Atlanta. A little quick Freddie Freeman story real quick. I was working at a Cheesecake Factory, and I forgot what year it was. It was one of those years where he was, off injured, and he had trouble with his foot. So I was, running around like a chicken with my head cut off, just trying to serve cheesecakes and everything. And I kind of trip over this gentleman's foot. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And then I look up, who was it? Freddie Freeman. I was like, Freddie, I am terribly sorry. I know, Freddie, that's the foot. I'm sorry. I'm feeling the world's worst. I felt bad, but when I say Freddie was nice about the whole situation, he said, hey man, don't worry about it. You're doing it. You're fine. Don't worry about it. You're fine. He's so damn nice. So to say that the Braves gave him another offer sheet, and you as the agent, Casey Close, said, well, I want you in LA. See, now we got a problem, because the agent, works for the player. Because if the player don't get the money, then the agent doesn't get the money. That's so you have to do what's in the best interest of the player. Yes, LA is the cost of living is high as gas. It's high as giraffe. And everything. So it's just the fact that you understand that, okay, well, this is a nice, appealing market. Let's go play over here. If you want to shot another one in the championship, let's go play over here. But they still love you over there. No, let's go play over here. Now it goes from his interest to the agent's interest. And that's my problem.
I don't think it went that way, though. I think what happened was, I think the team was more prepared. The Braves were more prepared for this negotiation than the agent was, because the Braves were anticipating a high dollar offer coming in. And they said, if this is what's going to happen, we have a chance to get another really good player. We can go get Matt Olson. So when the ultimatum offer came in, the Braves were given a deadline. They said, we want you to pay this. Yeah, we're going to give you an hour to say yes to this. And the Braves said, okay, well, we're obviously not going to be able to make him happy. Let's get Matt Olson now. So that's why that happened. It wasn't like the Braves said, we're kicking you to the curb. The Braves themselves felt like they were being kicked to the curb, that they weren't going to be able to compete. And yet, had there been some negotiation room there, the Braves would have probably come up to a number that would have been acceptable to Freeman. They had another offer they were going to be ready to come at him with that would have satisfied him because he wanted to stay in Atlanta. He would have been willing to take a little less rather than go to California for more and lose some in taxes, as Eddie said. But I think the team was just really prepared with plan B, and they were given an ultimatum that forced them into plan B before either side was really ready for it. And the agent, I think, was trying to look out for Freddie's best interest, but I think his strong arm tactic backfired on him. That's the way I saw it.
Well, and just to throw another little screw in there, Freddie Freeman isn't the only person that fired the agency. Trevor Story with the Red Sox also this year fired Excel Management. So they may need to clean up some things and realize that their tactics aren't necessarily working when it comes to getting these deals for these players. At the end of the day, players' best interests. I don't think Freddie Freeman was ever a top dollar guy. I mean, as far as like what his mindset was. But his agent probably saw like, dude, you can get top dollar and I'm going to get it for you come hella high water. Well, no.
And he did.
No.
And he did.
But maybe Freddie Freeman didn't want that hell. He wanted a little water. But sometimes it ain't worth it. Sometimes it ain't. Freddie Freeman's still doing his job though. Freddie Freeman's he's still doing his job. It's just, he probably heard something like, wait a minute. That's how you try to get the Braves to man, no wonder why they went and got another guy. You fired. Yeah. I feel like that's what happened. Like I think
there was just a cut of communication with the agent because Atlanta was probably like, hey, we'll give you this. Agent's like, all right, bet. I'll tell Freddie. Didn't tell him. Freddie was in the dark because he was probably just like, oh, they didn't want to give me another offer. This sucks. I thought we were good. And then this Atlanta's like, well, we haven't heard anything back from Freeman. We got to make a move quick. And I think that kind of just turned it out of control. And then once Freddie Freeman came back to Atlanta to play, they were like, hey, we're upset that you didn't take our final offer. And he's like, what offer? And I think that's what that's at least what I imagine happened.
Weekend. He was very emotional that weekend down there. And that led to the firing.
You see the picture of him in the dugout that he was just hanging out?
Yeah. He was crying on the field. He was crying pregame. And I think it irked his teammates, but a little bit. But you have to look at in the games prior to that weekend, during that weekend, and after that weekend, he was batting like 400. I mean, it wasn't like it affected his play on the field. He was out there producing. So it's hard to be that to really hold it against the guy. You just have to, if you're his teammate, you got to kind of say, okay, we'll give you this weekend to do your thing. You're still playing hard for us. Let's move on. And so that became a non-issue too. But cautionary tale for the agents.
Yeah. Clayton Kershaw, shut up. Talking about, I hope we're not playing second fiddle to Freddie. Man, hey, man. You're a bum. I said what I said.
You're a bum. Well, fellas, looking at my watch, guess what time it is?
What time you got?
What time is it? What's going on? What's happening? What's really going on
in the world today? It is time, once again, for our favorite portion of the show, the choices of the voices. With that being said, hey, old button. Hit it! Choices of the voices coming up after this.
And now, our favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices.
Well, you heard the woman. It's time, once again, for our favorite portion of the show, the choices of the voices. Wait a minute. Hold up. I'm all out of sorts. Once again, thank you to the wonderful and ever so lovely Miss Button for introducing our favorite portion of the show. You heard the woman, the choices of the voices. We ask the question, you give us the answer, and we talk about it right here on the Sports Bros Podcast. In the spirit of baseball, and the theme of the show, Scotty D, what's the question for this week's choices of the voices?
So we asked what home run hitter, past or present, really got you most excited when you saw them step into the plate? One of your favorite home run hitting sluggers. We had a couple, some very interesting ones. We had a nice pool of responses here, Eddie Cool.
All right. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and start reading them things right now. All right. So we got Ronnie Bellamy. He said Ron Gant. All right. Ron Gant hitting missiles down the left field line. And he also said John Kruk was fun to watch. So we got one for Ron Gant and John Kruk.
John Kruk?
That's what he said. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he was still caught up from that nostalgic moment at the All-Star game that one year, but that's neither here nor there. Moving right along, we got Matty Ice. He says Gary Sheffield. Yep. He hit it with such explosive power with that wild-ass swing. The ball made a different noise coming off his bat. No matter what team he played for, I always went out of my way to watch him bat. No pitcher wanted to face him. Not only could he knock him out the park, but his base hits were scorchers. You better keep your head up. And then he said, one of my favorite players that didn't play for the Red Sox was good old Gary Sheffield. All right. Coming up next, we got the Hall of Fame himself, Uncle Max. He said, that's easy. Hank Aaron and Willie Mays. He said, here's one for Mr. Livingston. When I was a kid in Birmingham, Alabama, we got the Braves Network on AM radio. My dad would let me stay up late when the Giants came to Atlanta, even on a school night. Two of my favorite players squaring off. You guys are great at triggering great moments.
Scotty D, you want to tell the people why this is so significant? What the Hall of Famer, Uncle Max, what his answer, why it was so significant?
I know that Uncle Max is a Giants fan. I know that he liked Hank Aaron, and I know that he's like almost 100. So whenever we put this question up, I had a feeling that maybe he might mention Hank Aaron or Willie Mays. And I sent B-Live a message, a private message, and I said, anxiously waiting, Uncle Max going with Willie Mays or Hank Aaron. And no sooner did I send that message, I went back to our Facebook page and he had chosen both. I love it. I love those choices because most of us can't claim that we saw Hank Aaron like Max did in his little anecdotes. So I love Uncle Max covering a little bit of that old time baseball for us. Great answers. I'm jealous that I didn't get to see Willie Mays or Hank Aaron hit a home run. So those are great answers. Thank you, Uncle Max. We greatly appreciate it.
I want to make sure it is fully understood, Uncle Max. I didn't make that joke. I didn't do it. I had nothing to do with it. I don't know if you saw my little animation, my gift. I'm Shannon Sharp. Had nothing to do with it. I had nothing to do with Matty Ice also saying that he thought that Uncle Max would go with Babe Ruth or Ty Cobb. That is disrespectful. I did not do that. I had nothing to do with that. I want to make sure that is understood, Uncle Max. I got nothing but love for you. These guys are ridiculous. That's a shame that they would pick on your age in such a manner. It's just devastating.
Let's not forget about Pee Wee Reese.
Yeah. All right. With that being said, moving right along. The new guys got jokes. All right, moving right along. We got Corey Logren. He said Pittsburgh's Killer Bees. Scott, help me out here. Bonds, Bonilla. And
yeah, that was really it. Bonds and Bonilla. They were the Killer Bees.
Was Derek Bell on that team too?
No, they actually had a shortstop named Jay Bell, but he was more famous for his bunts.
Okay.
But these Bonds and Bonilla were the Killer Bees of the early 90s. And yep, they hit some homers for sure.
Yep. And shout out to Bobby Bonilla, who's still getting a check after all these years.
What's it, till 2036?
Yes, he'll be 70. Like 73, 74. Shout out to his agent and Kirk Cousins' agent, because somehow, some way, these guys are still getting paid. And I likes that. I likes all that. All right, we got Joy Buttons, Joe Gafkin. He said Barry Bonds for Lee. He said Barry Bonds for me. I like when Albert, Joey Bell, and the Big Hurt stepped up too. Honorable mention goes to Juan Soto. He has some emojis. He's praying that he's coming back. Peace sign, love, and nervousness.
Baby, come back.
You need to be on the Nats. Terrible, Pete Talansky. He said, I've watched baseball as long as I can remember, almost 50 years now. Is he that old? But the time I remember most was from 86 to 92. I've always been a Yankees fan, but there were terrible. All right. Then, so I remember watching the Oakland A's during that time and watching Jose Canseco or Mark McGwire smash home runs the way they did was amazing. The big arm Bash Brothers.
Bash Brothers. Yep.
Jeez. What a time to be alive when it came to baseball. When them two, Jesus, man.
His arm,
the thick.
Yeah.
The thick of the steroid there.
Yeah, you see my arms. This was Mark McGwire's arm at 25.
One arm. That's
one
arm. Jeez.
I was like, damn, that Joker got some big ass arms.
Yeah.
This large for no reason, but we found out why. All right, Craig Burns, he says Tony Armas. All right, he led the AL in homers in 1984. Seemed like he swung for the fences on every pitch. A huge inspiration in my wiffle ball career. Holla at your boy. If you play wiffle ball, nothing wrong with that, all right? Mark Owens, he said Mark McGwire, Dave Kingman, and slamming Sammy Sosa. Joey Jacobs, he says Jack Smith and Barry Lamar Bonds. He put the whole government name out there.
Michael Jack Schmidt, Mike Schmidt for the
Oh,
Phillies.
okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, Michael Jack Schmidt. My bad. Mike Schmidt. Come on, Joey. You killing me, Joey. You killing me. All right. And then we got Danny Vereen, who might be my cousin. He says Reggie Jackson. All right.
Yeah.
October.
Yeah, he had some exciting bombs.
Yep, a bunch of them. All right. And Kyle Ponstinger, what's up, good brother? He said Ken Griffey Jr. is a major reason why I fell in love with the game of baseball. Yes,
Joe Comfort also went with Ken Griffey Jr. I don't know if you saw his, but there's two quick ones for Junior Griffey, whose silky smooth swing is one of the best of all time.
It's a beautiful thing to watch.
Damn near effortless. It was and gone. I don't know if you remember. Yeah, I don't remember.
Uncorked it.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember his logo was like the swing of the bat going like that, and him just looking. I was like, this is effortless.
It was an art form. And I think what also contributed was the fact that he was left-handed, which was not really wasn't really that big of a thing for a left-handed hitter to have that much power and just was smooth with it. I believe you did you mention Tony Bogan? He also mentioned Ken Griffey. Then he threw in Juan Carlos Stanton.
Yep, I'm on that right now. Yep, Tony Bogan. He said Juan Carlo, depends on what part of the world you come from. When he hit his 59th dingers in 2017. Yeah, that was a good season for Juan Carlos Stanton. And then Ken Griffey, just his pure stroke. Jim Tomei and Albert Pujols, who's still knocking them out the park to this very day.
I think he only got 6 this year and somehow made it into the home run derby, which is starting in 26 minutes. Because we record on Monday, even though I said what I said.
It started at 7, or I thought it started at 8.
No, I think it's at.
It was last night, guys.
Either way.
Last night.
They will. Oh man, I'm a day late then. Either way, I'm gonna legally stream it, so it's okay.
It happened last night.
Yeah, it happened. It happened. All right, so shout out to all the participants in this week's Choices of the Voices. 2 minute name, but we thank you for your participation week in and week out. Oh shoot, watch out, Hunter's putting on the glasses. This could get serious. With that being said, Hunter, favorite home run hitter, who you got?
I got a couple.
Okay.
So I'm surprised no one mentioned Manny Ramirez. The Cleveland
actually
version
had his picture on our page for this question.
Oh, oops! I didn't even look at it. Sorry, I knew what it was, but I didn't look at the actual post.
Yeah,
because I knew I was going to be doing this. But
because he did hit some, he hit some. Go ahead, buddy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then that's my Cleveland mention. Just in general, I have 2 that I'm surprised no one really mentioned. They're not really big names. One of them is way bigger than the other, but Jose Bautista.
Oh, yeah.
He was always very, very fun. And then the other one, I guarantee you 75% of the world forgot about this guy, Mark Trumbo. I don't know if you guys remember Mark Trumbo. He was a
I
big
remember
part of
the
those
name.
Baltimore teams
Are you talking about,
with Adam Jones and
Yeah.
JJ Hardy.
Yep.
And then he was a part of the Diamondbacks team for a little bit. But yeah, I always liked Mark Trumbo. I don't know what it was ever since when I first started watching baseball. Mark Trumbo was one of the first like players that I was exposed to, and I was like maybe like 8 or 9, and it's just maybe 10. I don't remember the age. It doesn't matter. But yeah, him and Jose Bautista, just because Jose Bautista just knows how to pimp home runs in a sense.
Well,
Yeah.
he knows how to pimp home runs. I think he's known more for his bat flip than he has for the actual home run. So, like, yeah.
Oh yeah,
he hit the ball a ton, and for distance. So that I do like those answers. I do. So, you want me to go ahead and throw mine out there?
Go ahead and throw it out there, Be Live.
Go ahead and throw it out there, even though it got stolen. I don't normally do this. I usually go for a different answer if somebody mentions who I want to go for. But I'm just going to stick with it. Gary Sheffield.
Yes.
I don't care what anybody says. Growing up, I tried to get the bat swing and over there about to break my wrist, trying to for no reason. Yeah. The bat speed that he had, the velocity that he hit the ball was just second to none. And it was so unconventional, but I don't care who you were. If you grew up watching him, you tried it once. You tried to hit the ball like Gary Sheffield. I don't care who you are. You don't have to admit it, but I just know. I know me. I seen him. I'm like, man, God, just stronger. That's with a K. Strong. How did you get that much velocity on the bat? And just like what was it? Terrible. Was it Pete Lansky that said also agreed? And for that exact reason, when he hit the ball, that ball came at you one way or the other, whether it was over your head or straight at you. There was very rarely any pop flies for him. These were line drives that he was hitting the ball with. So, man.
So
Gary. And I'm gonna throw a little wild card. Vlad Guerrero with no gloves.
Yeah.
Vlad Guerrero, I was just like,
that's a good one.
Yeah.
Vlad Guerrero, man.
That dude could cover the plate like nobody's business.
Yeah.
Man, oh man. So that's my honorable mention. And then go ahead and Amtrak this thing because I like to just jump in and do what I want to do. So all right.
I know. Scotty D, who you got?
Well, I brought this up because of the buzz at the ballpark when Aaron Judge stepped into the plate when I was in Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago. Aaron Judge coming to the plate just brings the stadium to a different kind of pitch. And it reminded me of when I was a kid at going to Three River Stadium, how it was when Willie Stargell came to the plate. Now, they didn't hit home runs at the volume that today's player hits them, but Willie Stargell was like one of the top home run hitters of the day. So as a kid, it was always exciting when he would come to the plate. He had that kind of wind up pre-pitch swing that he did. As I got older, I became a Barry Bonds fan, and he is my all-time favorite player. And I used to love watching him step into the plate because he didn't swing out of the zone for a few years there. It was either you're walking him or you're watching it fly out of the yard. So the anticipation of a Bonds at bat did it for me, but there was really nothing more exciting than the combination of McGwire and Sosa. That whole record-breaking summer when Mark McGwire broke Roger Maris's record. And for even like a short period of time, Sosa overlapped him. And at the beginning of that season, Junior Griffey was in that race. And then it just became, he didn't take the steroids that these guys did. And we know now that it was tainted. But at the time, that was so exciting to watch that because this is a record that had stood forever. And to see two guys going after it in the same season, that was really exciting. But my favorite hitter was probably Barry Bonds as far as the home run hitter. Eddie Cool, what do you got?
I got to ask real quick, just because Barry Bonds, he had an unconventional style too. Nobody chokes up on the bat and produces that much power. Barry Bonds would always choke up on it, and I never understood. Like, you could talk to any baseball coach, and they would not recommend that unless you didn't have a handle on the bat and everything. So you would choke up just so you could handle it. Barry Bonds didn't need to do that, but I guess he got used to that short arm freaking, but he just had so much explosion when he hit it.
Yeah.
So
well, even some players today, and I forget who I saw do this the other day. When they get to 2 strikes, some will choke up a little bit to protect the plate rather than take a strikeout. They'll foul one off or swing for a base hit rather than a power hit. So the choking up on the bat thing, you don't see much of it anymore, but you still see a few players here and there do it.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You choke up on it, so you're not going for the power hit. But Barry Bonds hit it for. He still hit it with power. Like I don't know. I just wanted to mention that, and then there I go jumping in with my 2 cents again. I'm gonna need to keep my change. Eddie, cool. Go ahead. My bad.
No, it's all good, B-Lab, because you brought up something I was not paying attention to. So now I'll be looking for it. When I watch videos. My initial answer, it didn't change, but I watched the video on him today. It got to be the one and only Sammy Sosa. Sammy Sosa was exciting. He had that nice swing, and whenever the camera would look at him, like when he's at bat, he would do this thing where I call it that toe tap. He bring that toe back, then bring that foot up, swing, watch the ball leave. I said, when he starts toe tapping and hopping, the ball is gone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When he started toe tapping and hopping, I was like, oh, it's gone. It's gone. I mean, yes, that era was marred by steroids, but to be honest with you, do we give a damn? No. It was a fun era to watch, man. He was a fun one to watch, man, because I'm like, every time he come up the bat, it's like, oh, man, here we go. And Scotty D mentioned it was him and Mark McGwire that one year where they had like the country in a chokehold. They literally had a country in the stranglehold. Like you didn't watch nothing. Even if you didn't watch baseball, you had some kind of emotional investment in watching Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. If you ask me, those two single-handedly saved baseball, because after the strike, people quit messing with baseball. They really quit messing with it.
Very much so.
Yeah, they quit messing with baseball. And an honorable mention, Hunter, you're going to like this one, Albert Bell. Have you ever seen Albert Bell's stance? It was just like, I'm going to hold a bat all the way. I'm going to hold a bat just like this in front of me. And he just had like this crouch down stance. And it was just unconventional. I'm just going to hold it out in front of me and hold it over the plate. And I'm going to hit it. He just violently hit the ball. And I was like, I'm not going to lie to you. His was a swing I used to mimic, but it didn't work. I wasn't that strong. I was probably like 13 or 14 at the time. It was that strong. But for him to just sit there and he had that look on his face like, I'm fit to hit this ball and I might hit you if you get in the way. I mean, there's that one time who he blew, was it Fernando Vina from the Brewers? One of the base paths, he kind of blew him up or whatever. Yeah, so Albert Bell was fun to watch when he wasn't beating up people. And Sammy Sosa, like I said, as soon as he started toe tapping, swinging, and hopping, it's gone. They made baseball very exciting. Well, that does it for another exciting edition of the Choices of the Voices. Hunter, did we get you in? Did we get you in?
Yeah.
I'm just double
I've been in, man.
Hey, man, I'm just double checking because the show be moving fast, and I'll be like, what's going on? All right, good. It's been another exciting edition of the Choices of the Voice. With that being said, Scotty D, what's on tap for next week?
When you go to the ballpark, what's your favorite thing to order? Eat, drink, souvenirs. What do you like to program? What do you like to order? I mean, I know B-Live, we can put him down.
That's not necessary.
Right,
well, I felt that in my spirit. Why did you? I knew you were going to do that. I am not that bad off.
Okay. All right. So maybe I was wrong. But maybe you're like B-Live.
You're not wrong.
A beverage.
You're not wrong, but I'm gonna say you're not wrong. But you didn't have to mention it.
Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks.
Some Yingling.
All right. So that's what we're gonna ask some Yingling. That's what we're asking. Like, what's your favorite thing to order at the ballpark? And that'll give us something to talk about next week. Eddie, cool.
All right, Hunter, before you get out of here, man, tell the people where they can catch you, man.
Yeah, so Keon Sports YouTube channel, the Guardians Weekly Show, goes live on either Sunday night or Monday midday. Really just depends on the upload schedule. But if you want a breakdown weekly of the Cleveland Guardians and how they're doing, box scores, injury reports, stat lines, anything you need with Guardians baseball, I'm your guy. That's the podcast. Check it out. I'd greatly appreciate it.
Or if you have some complaints about Angel Hernandez, I heard a little bit of that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you have complaints about
the umpire.
Yeah, if you have complaints about Angel Hernandez, I'm your guy as well. If you have complaints about anything, but mostly Angel Hernandez, like 90% of it.
I picked up on that the other day. Not a big fan of his. I caught that part of the show.
Oh man.
Check out the Guardians Weekly Podcast every Monday with your host, Hunter Simboli.
Yeah, also tune in if you want to hear Edwin's voice for 20 seconds, but it's still an amazing intro.
Eddie Cole. Boom.
So if you need me to bring in, let you know. All right, Hunter, you take care. And fellas, let's get out here because it's time for a round of pepper. Don't sneeze. Coming right back at you. Sports Bros Podcast. Hunter, you take care, brother. It's been fun.
Thanks, Hunter.
Yep. See y'all. Appreciate y'all.
See you.
Okay, boys, let's bring it home with a round of pepper.
All right, you heard a woman. It's time for us to go home and get what I call the hell up out of here. But before we get up out of here, it's time for a round of pepper. You know how we do it. 3 topics, rapid fire style, kind of sort of not really here to engage, enlighten, and entertain. And I'll go first. In the theme of baseball, on this day in history, back in 1910, Cy Young wins his 500th baseball game, all right? His Hall of Fame career. Yes, that's a lot of games, all right? He pitched for as the Cleveland Naps beat the Washington Senators 5-2 in 11 innings. He is the only pitcher to reach that milestone. 500 wins. 500. Over to you, Scotty D.
All right. Well, this past weekend was the Open Championship, which we all used to call the British Open, over at the old course at St. Andrews. And it was a heck of a tournament. 20 under was the winning score. That was by Cameron Smith. It was a spirited final round. That dude shot, I think it was 6 under on the back. He had a span of 5 consecutive birdies. His putter was sizzling. The part that I was a little sad to see was that Rory McIlroy did not get that next major. It's now been 8 years, and we'll have to wait another year to get another major. I wouldn't even say that this was one that Rory lost as much as had taken away, because he played a good round, a bogey-free final round. He just couldn't get a putt to go down. Cameron Smith's one of those guys that always lingers around the leaderboard and usually has like one bad round that takes him out. And that did not happen this time around. He had a shaky Saturday, but his Sunday was unbelievable. He was 8 under in round 2 and 8 under in round 4, finished with 20 under par, 2 shots ahead of McIlroy and 1 ahead of Cameron Young. Best live golf tournament player for the weekend was Dustin Johnson, who finished 7 strokes back. There's now talk that Cameron Smith could be headed to the live. God, I hope not. I'm sorry. He's sick of hearing about live, the live golf tour. Be live. If you can hear me, over to you.
No, it wouldn't be too bad if PGA Tour would just allow these guys to play in their tournaments as well as play the little 8 tournaments here and there. Play them both. What's the problem? That's what I say with that. But I'm not going to digress on that. My first pepper point. I'm gonna start with baseball. Because we've been talking about contracts and all these players, 15 years, $445 million to be, and turning that down. Well, there is a whole horde of players that don't play on the major league level. You've got AAA, AA, single A, advanced A with some farm teams and some other things that are not making those type of bucks. In the tune where the majority of more than 5,000 players in the minor leagues, they only make between $4,800 and $14,700 annually, because they only get paid during the season. Well, there was a class action lawsuit, like, hey, these guys are playing for less than minimum wage and not getting paid for overtime, travel, et cetera, where Major League Baseball, they took them to court, and Major League Baseball ended up settling a class action lawsuit and will pay $185 million that will go to these players that are making this little bit of money I didn't even think it was that little, but to make $5,000 as a minor league player for a full season, that's insanity. So I'll be okay if you raise my prices at the at my single leg Fayetteville Woodpeckers. You raise up to $15 because you know they're gonna get the money from somewhere. But man, pay these players, pay them a little bit better. They're still hitting the field every day. They're still playing 56. I think my minor league team, they play like 70 games a year. So they deserve more than $5,000 to $10,000 a year. Come on, baseball teams. Y'all make plenty of money. Do better. Eddie Cool, the ball.
All right. With that being said, on this day in history, back in 1950, the New York Yankees signed their first black players by the name of Elston Howard and Frank Baines. Yep, the Yankees making things happen.
Elston Howard, legend.
Yep, Elston Howard, the legend. Over to you, Scotty D.
Back to the links, back to the Live Golf Tour, where Sergio Garcia, Live Golfer, says he is going to resign from the DP World Tour, which is essentially the European Tour under a new name. He said he's not feeling loved. He wants to be loved. Really? Is it that, Sergio? You want to be loved? Or is it that you're making enough money on Live or you just don't feel like playing them little European tours anymore? Come on, Sergio. Loved. Be live. Get that out of my
face. He's feeling the love with the Live. God. Minor league players not only making $5,000 a year, but Phil Mickelson missing cuts and shooting over par everywhere he goes, making $200 million. Come on, bro.
Stinking up the joint. This is stinking up the joint.
Well, let's take it. It's almost that time. We're in the middle of July. There's only been so much baseball we talk about. I'm waiting for football season. I'm waiting for college football. Let's get it. Let's go. There's so much melee that's going on in the world of college football. Let's talk about the NIL real quick, because you know it is a hot, steaming pile of this excrement that nobody can get their handle on. Well, famed college coach of Ole Miss says, and you know him by the name of Lane Kiffin.
Oh, God.
He says that there should be a salary cap when it comes to the NIL, and that coaches should be involved. Because as of right now, the NIL, coaches are not allowed to be a part of the NIL signing or anything like that, because they're saying that will be a pay for play. So where like coaches like, hey, we want that guy, your money pay for that guy. That's what they're trying to avoid. And like Kevin's like, but we need to have some type of involvement. No, you don't. But here's the mess. Salary cap, coach involvement, pay for play, which is already happening anyway. Now you just made it legal in a sense. And then you got LSU's new coach, Brian Kelly, with his newfound Southern accent, talking about how crawfish etouffee is his new favorite.
Lord,
and he understands. This is a quote by Brian Kelly, I kid you not. Understand now, I have a Boston, Midwestern, Louisiana accent now. It's 3 dialects into one. It's no longer family. I got all kinds of stuff to throw at you. You know it's probably the crawfish etouffee. I don't know how you top that. Brian Kelly, cut it out. Stop it. You know what? I've had enough. Penalty box, Brian Kelly, you in it, bruh. You cut this out. I'm gonna need you to stop immediately. College football, SEC, super conferences, all roads lead to Dabble like they always do. You know it. Eddie Cool, the ball.
I don't know what the hell he's on, but I'm going to break some news, fellas, instead of this will be my third and final pepper point. This just in, as reported by Scott Fishman, It's about Ric Flair's last match, as promoted by Jim Crockett Promotions. Let me put this on gallery view because I would love to see Scott's face. All right, so here we go. According to Scott Fishman on his Twitter account, it says Ric Flair teams with his son-in-law Andrade El Idolo in his final match to face unofficial Four Horsemen Jeff Jarrett and the man who worked with Flair on his comeback, Jay Lethal. All right, so Sunday, July 31st at the Nashville Municipal Auditorium will be Ric Flair's last match, and it'll be a tag team match. It'll be the Nature Boy Ric Flair and his son-in-law Andrade El Idolo versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal with Karen Jarrett by their side. And this will be the final Jim Crockett promotion. And Ric Flair's final match, going out the way he wanted to, which means that match at WrestleMania wouldn't work to their fly smash. Over to you, Scotty D.
Oh man, I don't know if I'm interested in that. I don't know. Hey, so you know what? There's every once in a while I'll see a video on Facebook where they'll show somebody at the beach and you'll see a shark in the ocean, which is not something you see every single day. I mean, we know they're in there, but there always has to be comments underneath there where people say, "What? Sharks in the ocean?" Being snarky and smart alecky, like, "Oh, you're so cool." Yeah, you know, if you go into the woods and you see a bear, you'll take a picture of that. You don't see a bear every day. You know, if you go to by a pond and you see an alligator, you'll take a picture because you don't see alligators every day. Stop acting all cool and snarky like you're the only one who knew that there were sharks in the ocean. Just stop that. And by the way, Shark Week coming up on Discovery Channel, July 24th. None of that has anything to do about sports, but I don't care. Be live. Over to you. Shark Week coming, baby.
A shark ate me.
Right,
sharks live in the ocean. Big surprise.
Let me prepare you guys for this third and final pepper point, because y'all already know I go for the ridiculousness. And yes, my second pepper point wasn't as ridiculous as my third. I don't know how I topped that, but I found a way. Let's start with this. Part of NFL league rules as a player in the NFL, you are not allowed to endorse alcoholic beverages. You're not allowed to be like a direct sponsor, or like can't be in a alcoholic commercial. Like basically can't see you consuming an alcoholic beverage in a commercial per NFL league rules. Well, they'll find a way to find a loophole in every single thing. And Patrick Mahomes can be seen in a commercial featuring D Coors Light. Not Coors Light, the beer, but D Coors Light, a flashlight that feels as cold as the Rocky Mountains. This is an actual TV commercial. Look it up. And all proceeds of the flashlights, which are $15, which are out of stock on the website D Coors Light, D-E-T-H-E, CoorsLight.com website. All proceeds will benefit the quarterbacks 15 and the Mahomes Foundation, which aims to improve the lives of children. So it's all the sale of the flashlights go to a charitable cause. But if you have not seen this commercial, it is about as ridiculous as it could possibly seem. They take the Rocky Mountain logo, they flip it upside down. Patrick Mahomes is holding a flashlight, turns it on and off, says D Coors Light on the flashlight. He unscrews the flashlight, maybe thinking hopefully there's a beer in it, and batteries pour out. It could be the corniest thing I've ever seen, and I want everybody to go check it out. Introducing D Coors Light flashlight. And that's how Patrick Mahomes sponsors Coors Light, because it's clearly has nothing to do with the flashlight. It's all about the beer. But that's how you get around the rules. And that's what's going on in the world today. Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just watched that commercial B-Live was talking about. It's been another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. Once again, shout out to our guest, Hunter Simboli, for joining us this week. Fellas, it's time for us to get the hell up out of here and watch a little bit of wrestling, eat some pizza, consume some libations, and just chill on a Monday night.
See, I love the way that you start off the show saying that it's Tuesday, but you end the show saying we're going to watch wrestling on a Monday night.
That was some Monday Night Raw was so good last night.
Every single episode
so good.
It's ridiculous. Eddie Cool, penalty box. Scotty D, just the way you looked at me, penalty box. Hunter, Hunter, he's going in the penalty box too. Patrick Mahomes, Coors Light, penalty box. Brian Kelly, penalty box. Double minor.
And then closing before Scott.
I'm getting kicked all the way out of the game. I'm out. That's my time.
And then closing, do something nice for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else. They'll greatly appreciate it now more than ever. Be careful. Love each other. Be good. That thing is still out there. So just be nice, be good, take care of each other, and just enjoy yourself, right? It's a nice summer. Just take care of yourself, baby. Just be good. Just be good. And be friends with people that want to be friends with you. And love those that love on you, all right?
Play. Hey, no. You're a rock star. Show, get paid.
All that glitters is gold. Only shooting stars break the mold. Well, that's all you get. That's all you get. Not trying to get hit no fines or nothing. Hey, it's been another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. Bye. See you later. See you next week.
Yes, sir.
Give us
Yes,
something.
sir.
There we go. See you later.
Big Chain Records.
Big Chain. Hey, it's Eddie Cool here from the Sports Bros Podcast. And do you want some more of the Sports Bros Podcast in your life? Wait a minute, don't answer that. The answer is yes. And I know you want some more of the Sports Bros Podcast in your life. Do us a small favor. Go to the description box, click our Linktree link, and you'll see all the links on how to follow the Sports Bros Podcast. Once again, thanks for listening.